The movie begins on Memorial Day with an interview for a high-ranking position at a prestigious company. 8 candidates have been selected to participate, and they arrive at the examination hall filled with excitement. Inside, there are 8 seats, each with a question paper bearing a designated roll number. A security guard stands at the door, ensuring entry control. Soon after, a male invigilator enters and addresses the candidates, stating, "Only you 8 candidates have been chosen here. This won't be easy, so listen to my instructions and follow them closely." He says, "You'll be asked only one question. You'll have 80 minutes to answer it. There are 3 rules you must follow. First, no one can communicate with me or the guard. Second, if you damage your answer sheet. Third, leaving the examination hall will disqualify you." Then he asks, "Any questions?" Everyone remains silent. He leaves after stating this. When they look at their question papers, they find them blank with no instructions. Confused, a girl writes, "I am sure that I deserve this job." The guard promptly removes her for spoiling her paper, causing worry among the candidates. One of the boys then suggests, "If we can't talk to the guard or invigilator, we can talk to each other." They realize they won't be penalized for conversing among themselves, which reassures them. They realize that the interview is about finding the question rather than answering it. One of the boys suggests, "We can uncover the question through collaboration." Each of them believes it's likely they want to test our teamwork or intelligence. That's why they have given the blank paper. As one candidate begins to state his name, another interrupts, "Our question papers only have our numbers, not names. Omitting names might be part of the test." They decide to assign nicknames to each other. The only black candidate is nicknamed Black, while the fair-skinned boy becomes White. A girl with blonde hair is named Blonde. There are 2 girls and 2 more boys. One of the boys sits quietly, seemingly disinterested in the proceedings. Later, they note that the invigilator didn't restrict them to their seats, and the guard remains silent even as they stand up. A girl standing says, "Perhaps the words on the question paper are invisible." Suddenly, the boy holds the paper up to the light, but nothing becomes visible. The blonde-haired girl suggests, "Maybe there's hidden text that can be revealed by shading with a pencil." White encourages her, "Why don't you give it a try?" Black interrupts her, warning, "Stop. Remember, you'll be disqualified if you spoil your paper." Another girl proposes, "Maybe each of us has a question on someone else's paper, and we have to answer those questions." Black adds, "It's also possible we all have to answer the same question, which could be on someone else's paper." White starts checking everyone's papers in the light while standing up, but the quiet boy hasn't submitted his paper for inspection. White approaches him and checks his paper as well, but his question paper was also blank. They discuss how they might uncover the hidden question. Black suggests, "It might have been written with something that's not visible under normal light." Blonde notices, "There's a blue light visible on the wall." They decide to try reading the paper under this blue light, but they can't find the switch to turn off the main lights and activate the emergency lighting. Black explains, "It's activated during a power outage. We need to create a blackout." Reluctantly, they start breaking the lights one by one. Some object, fearing the blue light won't turn on and they'll be left in the dark. They take a vote, and 4 candidates agree to take the risk. They proceed to break all the lights. Luckily, the blue light illuminates the room, but when they check their papers under it, the question remains invisible, disappointing them all. With 20 minutes already gone and just an hour left, White reminds them, "The invigilator warned against spoiling our own papers, but didn't forbid us from affecting others." The girl who was earlier removed White tries shading her paper with a pencil, but still finds nothing visible. White then suggests tearing the paper into 4 pieces to see if anything appears. In a controversial move, he urinates on a paper and puts it in the corner. This angers everyone, and they criticize him harshly. Meanwhile, the silent candidate who had been sitting quietly in the corner starts to cry. He starts speaking in French. A girl translates, "He's saying it reveals your true self." One of the boys suggests, "Maybe this isn't an exam but a game." He notices a large black mirror in front of him and speculates, "The invigilator might be watching us and enjoying our reactions." But a girl counters, "No, this company isn't like that. The CEO monitors everything. If there's someone here, they're surely the CEO. Don't worry, they won't behave irrationally." Here's the surprising revelation. None of the candidates knew the company's name they were interviewing for. It turns out the company manufactures a drug for a disease requiring hourly medication to slow down infection. The boy remarks, "The company stopped hiring after a major loss." The girl disagrees, "No, that's just a facade for the world. They may have discovered a cure for the disease." The boy agrees, "Yes, if that's true, they've made significant progress. Perhaps they're hiring us for that reason." They then notice the fire alarm. They consider the possibility of using a chemical, perhaps from a lighter fluid, to reveal hidden content on the question paper. A girl hastily retrieves a lighter from the guard's pocket with the intention of using it to activate the chemical reaction. However, when she attempts to ignite the lighter, the flame doesn't reach the paper. White suggests handing her a folded paper from below to catch the flame, but in the chaos caused by the fire alarm, she mistakenly burns her own question paper. The guard disqualifies her, leaving only 6 candidates remaining. Black becomes furious at White's action and threatens, "I should punch your lights out." As he says this, all the lights in the room are suddenly switched off. Blonde angrily asks Black, "What have you done?" A boy standing nearby explains, "He said lights out, so all the lights went off. Now I'll say lights on." and they should come back on. He promptly says, "Lights on," and the lights are immediately restored. The revelation dawns on them that the lights are voice controlled. The quiet candidate, visibly upset, starts crying upon hearing their conversation. White approaches him and suggests, "Why don't you tear your paper?" Overcome with emotion, the candidate tears his paper, leading the guard to remove him from the room. In the process, his glasses fall and break. In a fit of rage, Black punches White, causing him to collapse unconscious. Black then binds White to a chair. After some time, White regains consciousness but is unable to speak because Black has taped his lips shut. A girl removes the tape from White's lips, and he urgently requests, "Give me my medicine." It's then revealed that White is infected with the disease the company manufactures medicine for, and he needs a dose every hour. White claims, "I know the question. I'll tell you all if you give me my dose." However, his pockets are empty when searched. Meanwhile, he loses consciousness once more. Then a boy starts to suspect the girl who untied White's tape, as she works in the same company. Accusing her of distracting them and spying, he demands, "Tell me, what is the question?" She defends herself, saying, "I'm just a HR. I haven't seen the CEO of this company either. Believe me, I don't know what the question is." Meanwhile, White's body starts trembling noticeably. Blonde suggests he might be exaggerating, but Black intervenes, saying, "No, he's not. He's suffering from the same illness my wife had." Blonde asks, "Was it true that he had that dose? If not, the dose must be among us and we should check each other." With only 15 minutes remaining, they start checking each other, but no one finds the dose. A girl approaches the boy who accused her earlier and asks, "Where did you put your chewing gum after chewing it?" She discovers his chewing gum contains the same medicine needed by White. The girl rushes to give the medicine to White, but the boy with the chewing gum containing the medicine knocks it out of her hand, causing it to fall into a drain where no one can retrieve it. She protests in front of the camera, appealing to the invigilator that White is in dire need of the medicine, but the guard removes her from the room for breaking the rule. Blonde manages to retrieve the medicine using her pin and administers it to White. Now, only 4 candidates remain. They implore White to reveal the question now that they've given him the medicine. He cryptically responds, "The answer is hidden within the question." The last remaining candidate is the answer to this question. He rushes to the guard, who possesses a gun. However, Black disarms the guard before he can react, pointing the gun at White. White challenges him, "So you want to shoot me? Then go ahead." Black pulls the trigger, but the gun fails to fire. White tries to fire it himself but encounters the same issue. They realize the gun has the guard's fingerprint lock. They approach the guard to activate the gun, but White suddenly points the gun at the remaining candidate who isn't White or Black. In a tense turn of events, the candidate leaves the room in fear, leaving only Blonde, White and Black remaining. White tells Black, "It's your turn to leave the room." Black refuses, asking, "Why should I leave?" Blonde interjects, "Fine then, I'll leave." As she reaches the door, she whispers, "Lights out." All lights switch off, and she conceals herself in the darkness. White starts shooting blindly, unable to see anything. When he finally says, "Lights on," he sees Black has fallen, wounded by a gunshot. White succumbs to his injuries, his eyes closing. Blonde's foot remains in the room, unnoticed by White as she stands outside. Thinking he's alone after getting Blonde out, White confidently announces before the camera, "You have your answer. I'm leaving this room, so I've got the job." The guard then shows him the time on his watch, revealing there are still a few seconds left. The silent candidate in the examination hall had forwarded the time on the watch by a few seconds earlier. White, assuming time was up, speaks to the guard, who disqualifies him. Now only Blonde remains, along with the silent candidate who was earlier disqualified and lost his glasses. Blonde picks up her glasses and checks her paper, where she discovers only the written question number 1 without any additional instruction. As the exact time ends, the invigilator and a man approach, the previously silent seated candidate, who turns out to be the CEO of the company. Blonde realizes his identity and approaches them confidently, stating that the real question was the one asked by the invigilator at the beginning. "Do you have any questions?" Blonde had answered, "No." She apologizes and declines the job, explaining that she cannot work for a company that destroys lives. When questioned further, she stands firm in her decision. The invigilator then approaches Black and informs Blonde that he is still alive. The bullet was designed not to kill but to deliver a capsule that heals wounds instantly and potentially cures various diseases, including the one they were manufacturing medicine for, a breakthrough the world is striving to achieve. Blonde is moved by this revelation and accepts the job offer enthusiastically. The movie concludes on a positive note with Blonde embracing her new role.